Alright, this is Terrence Prescott Barnes, and this is a video welcoming you to the Trust Zone era. Things that I've been writing since 1997, 7th grade and whatnot. Imagination Land. And if you don't like a story, write your own. Stems from the lack of other ethnicities I saw in elementary school, from how my mother brought us 2 sets of encyclopedias that led us around the world. That started how I noticed the lack of ethnicities in my immediate life, to how it was easy for me to write reports on different cultures and to look into different cultures. This ties into the mental health that I went through as a child. My mother forced it on me because of how different I was from everybody else that was immediately in my life. From the kids in school, the kids in the family, how I was the only one growing up my age in the family. My brothers had cousins, cousins had cousins, all of that. Because of how different I was from everybody immediately around me, she felt the need to take me to mental health, and because of that I was able to see what I was doing from the outside and monitor, record, just be able to be my own psychologist. And over the years I was able to, if I could talk right, see what I imagine and be able to put it into words better because of the mental health. So with all of that being said, I want to start talking about the fanfics first, because fanfics, they're like the gateway drug to writing. You get so hip to, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog, Street Sharks, Street Fighter, The Brave Little Toaster, Care Bears, all of that nonsense. That's when I grew up already. So when I was dealing with all of the fanfics, it was helping me develop my own way of writing, because the way that I saw the world, I was able to develop my own. I could see the characters, the plots, the direction of each episode, the pieces of puzzles that go to putting the whole big picture together. And the standing fanfics that I have right now are Spyro the Dragon, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Guilty Gear, Streets of Rage, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lock and Key, Dead or Alive, and Killer Instinct. These stories inspired me in different ways because of the characters that are in them. And I mostly focus on characters when I look at stories, when I look at universes, when I look at short films, long films, tales, fables, all of that stuff. Spyro the Dragon was hilarious, still is hilarious. I appreciated Carlos Alazraqui doing the voiceover for Spyro, and it was a tremendous thing for me, because I grew up with the PlayStation 1 and that was one of the titles I always played and enjoyed. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. The video game was gnarls and difficult to the T. It was horrid. Took me forever as a child to get through it, but throughout that time I always had a standing Zombies Ate My Neighbors fanfic, and the world changed so many times to the point that it's actually a huge part of story number 16, and I'll get into that later. Guilty Gear, I made up a ton of characters for that. Streets of Rage, a ton of characters for that. TMNT, Dead or Alive, Killer Instinct, just 6 for Killer Instinct, but everything else I have a lot of characters in them. Lock and Key is a new thing because of the show recently being released on Netflix. So now let's talk about the real stories. Like I said before, I've been writing since 1997, 7th grade time frame. I have 29 official stories right now, with a brand new one being developed. And as you're looking at me right now, I don't have it in the file on my phone, but there's 28 and 29. 29 is brand new. I started developing it last week, and that'll be the Crimson Collective. But stories 1 through 9 were the first bunch. I made them up all together. That'll be 1, The Order; 2, Yesterday's Collection; 3, Behind the Door; 4, Extension of the Earth Kingdom; 5, Ralph We Trust; 6, Deadly Arts; 7, Kill; 8, Oritzen; 9 is under construction at the moment. I'll have to get into that in another video. But all the way up to the 10th grade was when I was doing those 9 stories. And from 10 and beyond, I made up stories 10 through 20. And that was all high school period time. The rest of my stories developed throughout my adulthood after making decisions against my better judgment. Imagination Land wants what it wants, and the undying tug of certain developments made the rest of the Trustone era. Now the order in which I created the stories are different when it comes to the chronological order and the totem pole order, if I can talk right. Totem pole. The lowest on the totem pole would be the first one that I'm writing right now into a graphic novel. That will be story number 11, Remixed. The highest in power, I think it's a combination between 1, 20, maybe 9 that's under construction, and 3. It's a lot of power. Greater than the forces behind Dragon Ball Z. So they can give you a picture of how powerful those stories are. And after those stories, the chronological order, it would be story number 15, which will be the Trustone Project. I'll get into that in another video. And then after that will be the final universe of the Trustone era, which will be story number 10, Mesmeria Stones. Lovely times writing that story. So from the fanfic to the personal stories, in a lot of ways, the Power Rangers, Ronin Warriors, Sailor Moon, Poi Poi, a video game, Deadly Arts, a video game, Final Fantasy VII, The Bouncer, Dynasty Warriors, Phantasy Star, Bloody Roar, Sonic the Hedgehog, House of Anubis, a television show, and the Mighty Ducks movies. Those are stories that hold a strong anchor in a lot of my official stories. Like some of the characters, some of the ideas from the fanfic still stem over to the actual story, but it's changed so much that it's not a fanfic anymore, if that makes any sense. So the final thing I want to talk about in welcoming everyone to the Trustone era, I've always wanted to be an animator since the first grade. Cartoonist, animator. I picked up on the terms pretty quickly, but didn't actually learn anything about the rules of animation until I went to the Art Institute and had a major of media arts and animation. I was able to learn about the industry, learn about how to animate, and I know how to do it, but what I want to do is make all of my stories into animated series, and I would play more of a directorial role, the art direction, writing everything up, doing the characterization for each characters. I have an extensive file on how I make up the characters, from the smallest details to the details that won't mean much until you actually see it in a scene. and you'll be able to learn that's a huge part of the character, like how some of them can't sleep with night lights, the ones who eat popcorn, the way that they eat popcorn, the secrets that they have, the scars that they have, the tattoos that they've decided to get. All of that stems and all of that grows, all of that is developed in a characterization sheet. And those are always the basis of the story. If I don't have those down pat, I can't write a story. And the reason why the lowest one in the totem pole is the first story is because I have everybody characterized out, and about 5 stories above that, everybody is characterized out. And I have over 2,000 characters, so it's a lot of work I have to do. And I've been doing this since Yay Tall, and sometimes it's a battle, it's disturbing, it's challenging, it's a pain sometimes. But Imagination Land is beautiful. And I just want to make these beautiful animated series that are adulterated, have different ways of telling stories, showing all kinds of ethnicities that don't have any kind of anchor in any culture. Try to make it as total escape as possible. And I'm a huge believer of total escapism. Like when it comes with the video games that I choose to play, the music that I choose to listen to, I do a lot of things where people can't relate to it. And I want to be able to make animated series where the characters, people cannot relate to them. And I want that to be entertaining, because when I hear people have conversations about Rogue of the X-Men, Hulk with his lame ass, Superman with his evil lame ass, it's a pain. Now, I'm not gonna insult anybody, but I can't write, I can't develop, I can't make like that. I want total escapism when I make these animated series. And it's all I've ever wanted to do. And it stems from me being such a unicorn, such an individual, not relating to other people, always trying to escape the real world, always in my head, always making something beautiful, making love out of nothing at all, things of that nature. That's what I want to do with the animations, the series, the stories, from the first one to the last. And welcome to the Truststone era.